Hey guys, welcome back. As you know, we have been very into our freeze dryer. We got a Harvest Right freeze dryer last year, and one of the most common comments we get when we talk about our freeze dryer, totally understandably, is how expensive they are. And it's not untrue. Freeze dryers are expensive. They're very expensive to produce, but there is a significant investment involved with getting a home freeze dryer. So over the past few weeks, I've been kind of thinking about what are the ways to make freeze dryers more affordable? And there are actually quite a few really good ways, which I'm gonna go into right now. You might like some of these ideas, you might not, that's okay. But I'm just gonna throw them out there in case they help somebody. Option number one, this is something that we did ourselves. We literally saved thousands of dollars by doing this. Option number one for some people, not everybody, is going to be consider splitting it with somebody else. So we actually split the cost with somebody who lives near us. So if you can find somebody who is interested in these sort of things, or maybe you can find a community kitchen, or you can find like maybe if you can convince your local even apartment complex to go in on something like this, all you need is really at least one other family and you can save thousands. So what we do is we have the freeze dryer at one person's house for 6 months and then we switch it to somebody else's house for 6 months. And then in between, we just go to the other person's house as we need to, because frankly, some people use a freeze dryer every day, but most people are probably only gonna be using it once, maybe twice a month, unless you're really, really serious about freeze drying. What I do when the freeze dryer is not at our house, I just have the trays at our house and I fill them with whatever food I want to freeze dry. And then I put them in the deep freezer, and when it's time to freeze dry them, I take them over and they're already frozen. So it actually saves a ton of energy by not having the freeze dryer need to cool down to freezing with warm food in it, etc. I wouldn't recommend this to other people if it wasn't working really well for us. Of course, you have to have a good standing relationship and trust with this other person, but that's one option. If you have a friend or family member who you can split the freeze dryer with, instantly you can save 50% or more. Now, option number two is to definitely make sure you shop the sales when they're available. At the time of recording this video, prices can always change, but at the time of recording this video, Harvest Right is having their biggest discount that they only have one other time a year, which is, I believe, Black Friday. Again, that could always change, but historically, the biggest discount they offer is the $500 discount. So if you're considering a freeze dryer, May is a really good time, at least this current May with the sale is a good time to buy one. The other biggest sale I've seen so far is Black Friday. Now, I will say most of the time, even if they're not running their biggest sale, they're usually running some kind of sale. So it's usually like in the $300, $400 range. And even if you're just considering an entry-level smaller model, it's not like a percentage off. So you're not necessarily, they're not trying to upsell you necessarily, which is something that I appreciate.
Okay, minor correction. Looking at this current sale, it looks like there is a better discount for the large and extra large models, with medium and small coming in third and fourth respectively.
So as usual, I will link it for you guys below. I know the sale isn't gonna last a lot longer. It's already mid-May, which is crazy. But if you're thinking about it, maybe it's worth checking out that link and checking out the sale to see if it's worth it for you. Another option is to make your freeze dryer work for you. And there are a few ways that I've come up a few ideas I've come up with how to do this. Number one is you can refer a friend. So they do offer referral incentives like many things, but if you refer a friend, I do believe that friend gets a discount and then you get a discount as well. So if you have other people who might be interested in a freeze dryer, it can help them out and it can help you out. And if they're not necessarily local enough that you can split the whole freeze dryer with them, then this is something that can help a little bit. Also, they do have an affiliate program. We are part of the affiliate program. This job comes with some perks. Some people get things like health insurance. I get things like being part of the Harvest Right affiliate program. So I heard some people get like donuts brought into the office too, which sounds really nice right now. I'm not sure what the requirements are to be part of their affiliate program. I'm pretty sure that anybody can apply. So that might be something that might be worth looking into if that's something you're interested in, if you want to do the legwork and try and make some referrals there, or if you want to help us out and use our link. As always, we greatly appreciate it. Another option, which a lot of people are actually really into and is not something that I've gotten into yet, is selling freeze-dried products. Now, you do have to be careful with local laws and regulations depending on where you live. This may be more or less worth it or more or less accessible. But when our delivery guy delivered our freeze dryer, he said that our local candy shop, he said he's already delivered 3 to them and that they might be considering another one because they make such a killing off of freeze-dried candy. So that's one thing that can be pretty profitable. There are a lot of channels that focus on selling freeze-dried food. I'm not going to be a good resource for that because that's not something that I do, but I do know it's kind of a booming industry right now. So if you want to just sell freeze-dried food online, or if you wanted to sell it locally, it's definitely something that can pay you back. I know a lot of you guys do things, sell on small scale or sell at farmers markets. So if you know anything about selling freeze-dried food or have any experience there, please leave a comment below. We would all love to hear from you. Another option for saving a bunch of money on a freeze dryer is look into local used units. Now I will say, where we live, I did this, and the closest used unit that was on any kind of online listing that I could find was over 3 hours away, and it was only a few $100 off. You might get lucky though. You might find something locally that's used. Probably, maybe somebody just didn't use it as much as they thought they would, and it's a pretty big investment. Now I will say these things do seem like they hold their value really well, because the one that I saw for sale wasn't all that much cheaper. I think it was an older model, and I think it was like $600 or $700 cheaper than the one listed online, which was already $500 off. So it was really only like $100 or $200 cheaper. But again, this is all going to depend on what you find locally. Might be worth checking out, especially as the newer models come out with more space and more efficiency and things like the oil in the motor. People might be willing to part with other models that are also working perfectly fine. If you're trying to figure out if a freeze dryer is worth it, I'll just say these 3 things. Number 1 is to use it. Oh my gosh, freeze dryers are one of the most cost-effective ways to preserve food that I have found. It is crazy how much more the stores charge for freeze-dried food, and even people who are selling it seem to be making quite good profit margins. Especially once you get the system down, just using the freeze dryer will help you recoup those costs quite a bit. Another thing I recommend people do is compare it to other appliances in the home. Now, if you can't afford it, like if this is not an option for you financially, don't even worry about it. Like, I don't recommend going into debt or anything. However, if you're serious about growing and preserving your own food, or even just preserving your own food, people will drop a lot of money on refrigerators and freezers. And what are these ultimately but ways to preserve food more easily, right? So especially when we split the cost with somebody else, I was able to justify that pretty darn easily. And we do use this thing. Let me tell you, I think we use it mostly for freeze-dried eggs right now and freeze-dried fruit. But I'm really excited as the garden is starting to take off. We're going to be preserving a ton of our homegrown food, because I don't preserve as much as I should, because it takes so much prep work to can and everything, which I'm definitely going to try and do this year. But this is definitely an insurance policy that a lot more of our harvest is not going to go to waste. There's so much time and energy I put into growing food. I think it's well worth it to have it year round when I need it. So if you've been wanting a freeze dryer, especially a harvest rate freeze dryer, and you've been having trouble justifying it, or you just need a little bit more wiggle room financially than you were able to find before, I hope some of these tips gave you some ideas. Not saying they're all going to work for everybody, but some of them definitely helped us out a lot, and I hope they will for some of you too. If you have any experience with freeze drying or have any tips, tricks, recommendations, especially if they can save people some money, please leave a comment below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.